You know,
that Mr. Paxson
I'm just trying to.
sent on the wedding trip to New York, but he did it in such a way where it was like a business trip, you know, where he
Got
could,
the tax thing.
where he could, I don't even know if there was income tax in those days.
Right after New Year's. Lucy has a little
But
bit.
anyhow, he sent out a cruise, you know, up the coast to New York for their honeymoon.
Sent who?
Grandmother and Mr. Paxson, the
Oh, okay.
owner of the he made it a business type trip where he had him, you know, go to some showings or something. He must have been a buyer for the company. Anyhow, she talked about seeing Halley's Comet on the boat. It was like 1910.
Oh,
They got married.
Is it in the car?
I remember Gail saying, I'm tired of looking after Nanny.
It's in their bedroom.
So how did?
They play cards.
So do we know how they met?
Well, she was working too, wasn't she?
She worked for Benny, but I don't know what.
Well, he was in business with Goodyear or something in Columbus.
Yeah, it was after they were married.
Yeah.
They met in Atlanta at, I think at
I gotta
David
go.
Paxson.
Have a seat. Have a seat.
Have a seat. You know
That's
what?
about all I know.
You remember what night?
So they met in Atlanta.
I think so. I think she went to work for the store. And
I
then they met
just don't remember. I know she worked.
like a secretary or something.
Yeah, she worked for Benny as a secretary. I don't know when they were in Columbus.
Okay, I'll send you a check.
So what?
And then they worked in the store when they moved to Pine Mountain.
But Max came from South Carolina. He was
Kids on the planet.
raised
Yeah, I
in
mean-
Greenville. And I guess he came to Atlanta for that job.
I didn't think chicken scratch it.
And we met
Yeah,
there.
it was just blurry chicken scratch.
So she grew up around here though.
Grandmother,
Yes.
she was born in,
Yeah, thank you.
Says Mount.
I'll put the truck here.
I'm thinking,
This says Mountville.
born in Nashville.
That's
That's a true, yeah, I was thinking it was Meansville, which is in Pike County,
That's what Thomaston or
Pike
somewhere.
County or somewhere up there.
well. Do you either of you remember great grandparents?
I remember,
Ibby does.
I remember Danny.
I don't, but Ibby does.
Danny would have been her mother.
Yeah.
Little lady that sat in the rock, I remember her sitting in a rocking chair. I mean, I was a child.
They called her Danny.
They called her Danny.
Our great
Oh, great grandmother.
Mary Ellen Hightower.
Great
is that
grandmother.
right?
grandmother.
Great grandmother.
The kids called her Danny. I don't remember.
I don't know what.
Mary Ellen Hightower, is that her?
And his mother was the Isbell that my name comes from.
There were
From South
Hightowers
Carolina.
and Holloways, Tim. I forget whether she would seem like she was a
She was a
She was a
Holloway,
She was
Holloway.
a Holloway.
but her mother might
Was
have
a
been a
Hightower.
Hightower. And the
Quarter
Hightowers
bits.
are the ones that are buried in Crew County, aren't they? Maybe? Aren't those Hightowers up there?
I think so.
And somebody was born in The Rock, which is,
Is that where there's a pool or a lake or something to swim in?
it's just a little place the other, between Thomas and, I don't know, must be in Upson County.
So what? Danny, did she work at all, or just?
I have no idea.
She
I
died
remember,
before I was
I mean, I
born.
was little, all I remember was her sitting in that little rocker that I got out in New Rock.
What's another 500?
Maybe, but you need to go back and
So-
talk about what she told you.
What about
Or
her?
was that a camp?
No.
Her husband lost a leg in the,
Hmm.
her husband lost a leg in the Civil War, and she was his
I
nurse.
recorded it when I was up there, so I
That's,
knew like
um,
kind of
that's-
drag out
Yeah.
the sentence. And then I'd like.
That's
I think
Betty
there's
O's
small
Lucy.
comments about me painting.
That's Max's
You can see this.
dad, he was the one
Oh,
that was wounded
okay.
in Civil
The other
War.
side of
There's someone named Lucy in 1814.
Mac. So what were we saying? Max's
Max's
father,
father was the one that was
Samuel
wounded.
James Doubtful.
He's the one that married the Isful
He
girl.
gave her this for
One movie and then you talk about.
She was like one of, like
Here, oh, look at this.
she was like one of the little Virginia girls that came around visited the soldiers in the military hospital there.
Okay.
Ladybugs everywhere.
A nurse or
Well,
just somebody?
I
Oh,
was
just
thought
They visited soldiers.
okay.
And he was taken with her, I guess, and then he decided after the war he was going to go to the war. So.
True.
One of my friends
so-
was taking,
Do we know what he did other than in the war?
like tea.
Is he just a farmer?
Might have some of this because he's gotten,
I don't know, it's about,
He was a judge in, after the war, like a probate judge, or what we call a probate judge now, judge of ordinary in Greenville. James was after the war. He lost his leg, he was wounded at
He said one of his friends.
Battle of Malvern Hill, which was outside of Virginia, fairly early in the war.
I remember part of the.
I've got some pictures.
One of the, one of the
They have that
applications,
South Carolina.
one of the applications.
And he named one of his
You can make up any.
boys
question.
Malvern, as a matter of
He
fact.
did.
So I just went
Yeah.
to UGA's
Clarence
website because they have those,
Yeah.
they have those freshman seminars, so it's way wider.
He died
So I
young
just
back
found
then.
like genealogy.
All right. So on the other side,
They're actually cool.
Pop
What was that? That was
lived
the
here.
question on the
What-
application.
my
Would you-
father was
yeah.
born here.
Okay.
This
And
house.
his
Would be interesting.
his
Talk
father
about eggs. You could talk
lived here
about
but
chicken
didn't.
meat.
He wasn't the first one to live here. It was-
No, they moved here after the two older sisters were born, but before Daddy was born. And I believe,
Well, no, that thing.
and
Olin was,
It backwards.
And they
Barn
used
in
to
every
make
town.
Oh, it does?
right away
Yeah.
from
I think he was born out in Salem area, Troop County.
Because I think George people know almost drowned.
And the mother came
I don't know what happened, but
Mother came from
swimming.
Goat Rock area down there,
Every person had noticed him.
between Mountain Hill and Columbus
Something
down
that happened to
there.
somebody years ago. Maybe a tech
So
student
She
drowned
was a,
or something.
Cummings.
Cummings.
Jimmy Cummings.
And I don't remember any of her people. I remember her relative, sisters, brother, whoever, we used to go to reunions. Do you remember going
Yeah, I
to,
remember.
down in the area where she was born, but I don't, we never knew her.
The old log house was still there then, it's burned since. If you go down,
I sure seemed to be
River
nice
Road.
at the wedding. That's the only time I've
Yeah,
ever
you were
heard
telling
of
me.
out River Road where
She bugged you or leave you alone.
315, I guess, comes off of there and goes towards Catal.
yeah.
There's
Well,
a
it
church
is.
there, the house
On
was
the
right
corner.
in that vicinity there.
Just there to help when you need it.
Just before you get to that main village.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
have you been selling?
The cemetery
Not since the
right
crash.
down there.
Did you sell much?
So
I can't remember, I think I.
all right. So they both lived
You sell
in
most of what
county.
you had?
Who grew up in Harris County. Met some.
Olin might have been born in Troop County.
In the area.
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
Somewhere.
But some.
But he grew up around here, I think. There's a house down there about where you know where Don Taylor's house is.
Yeah.
I think that's where they grew up, where Olin grew up.
Let me think where something is.
There are a lot
Do
of.
we know how they met or just
Well,
ran across each other or?
parts together.
I'm not sure how they met.
Yeah.
Olin, do you know Jim?
What's that?
Wow.
Jenny and Olin, how they met.
I think I'm using, I don't know if there's one around.
Cause that was, that was a big trip from here to
Yeah.
Goat Rock in those days, wagon,
Yeah.
so
Like I wasn't sure.
I'm not sure
Right,
exactly where they met.
that's cool.
All right. Once they were married, he was a farmer, so they lived around here. Once they married, mean, we talked on the trip and was trying to remember who was in Columbus, who lived in Columbus.
They lived in this area when they got married, and in fact, they bought this house when, like, Aunt Frances was maybe 1 or 2 years old.
This time,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess she and Evelyn.
Early 1900s. Before Daddy was born in 1911, and they had this house.
I think I understood two families living in before then.
But I don't know where they lived after they married before that. For the
That's
first
about
few
right,
years.
driving back, whether do they?
I'm sure it was in this area.
And then he owned all the land eventually, you know, up to the road.
Family history.
So, what,
So now, something was
Alright.
said about her coming here.
So do y'all- were they living when y'all were?
Oh, yeah, the pictures of me and him sitting on a rock out here
Okay,
when
so
I was 2 or 3 years old.
I don't
You
remember
remember
when he
He's
died
got
when I
his
was
license
2.
up there.
And I've been in a couple of pictures with him, but I don't remember it.
I remember, one thing I remember is when he planted potatoes, he would give us a prize for whoever got the most unusual potato or the biggest one or something. So I remember right out in there, the
Yeah.
potato farm.
Your mama spent the night out here with the girls.
Yeah, my grandmother, you know, no.
She lived till, what, in the 50s sometime. I remember her. Yeah, I remember her.
I've heard some.
Yeah, she stayed in the house, we kept in town, or I stayed out here every night to get ready and whatnot.
And they don't do much.
And the old milk barn was there, and I remember Daddy, kept a couple of cows out here and come out here early in the morning and milk before he opened the store.
He'd bring her out here.
For me to go to Kingsland.
She'd spend the night in, and he'd bring her out here, and she'd stay all day, and then she'd come back in, or I'd come out and spend the night, and he'd come get me the next morning. But he had to get the milk. And they had chickens that ran all over the backyard, and I can remember wringing the necks, and the chickens would hop all over the yard and die.
Remember killing a hog
And
and
then the big pot with lard in it.
slaughtering a hog and,
Outhouse.
Oh, yeah, outhouse the whole time she was here.
there was where this barn, big long barn is, there was a smaller barn there, and there was another pecan tree on the other side, and that's where they winched the hog out, on the, and dipped it in the boiling water, to get, scrape it and everything.
Was it in Columbus? Oh, it was.
so what about their parents? Olin's
Andrew
parents?
Jackson.
Who lived up the road?
Because I think I have to
In
sponsor
Mr.
him, but I,
Andrew,
wow, as of right now, I don't
Andrew
have
lived in the
financial
house,
support him, like I couldn't,
Yeah, John
Boss
Taylor.
Hubrin's house right up here.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think,
gotta figure out.
When I-
our
I bet I
great
don't
granddaddy lived there, because they used to talk about how scared he was of storms. There
But I
was
don't remember having known.
There was a storm pit outside that door, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Daddy said he'd spend the night up there with him, and any time he heard even a distant rumble of thunder, they'd go out there and get in that storm pit. Because his other son, Maynard, was in Chipley when the big storm hit Chipley. And I think that spooked his dad about the storms.
They have shows,
That was 11.
That was '08.
good restaurants, good day for fun, hotel. Table Stone Bridge.
so his wife, who's, I'm trying to figure this
But
out.
it was fun.
He lost his first wife, she died, and he remarried, what was the first one's name? Mahalia was the second one, I remember, but she was not the mother of the children.
I can't tell on this what the,
Francis.
Yeah,
Francis
Yeah, that's how-
Henry.
Thinking about
that's where
what-
Aunt Frances.
oh, Francis
And then
Well, it's not pregnant.
Emery?
if it,
Yeah,
I think it's good for like
I think some of her folks are buried
a
out here.
year, I wanna say.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
if they're still processing your application
With,
after it expires, they could make you go again.
they thought later she probably had a ruptured appendix, and nobody could do
And you
anything
don't
about it
get their
then,
filter.
couldn't
They
diagnose
just
it
send
till
it,
she died.
everything straight to the
It was
immigration.
a painful
So
death,
they could like
apparently.
deny you and you wouldn't
You
know.
wouldn't even know. Did it take you a long time to get the
All right,
state?
where's Chelsea? What we hear that What do you remember from the?
Well, here, sit
Yeah.
What?
We've heard some of this
in the hot seat.
the other day. What else? What else y'all remember about them?
But what you talking about?
About who?
Any of them?
Any of us?
Your grandparents or great grandparents?
We,
Trying to remember what we had a little bit of this conversation on a.
Well, your granddaddy, he, you know, I knew him for 40, 50 years, he was a good man. That book tells you a little bit about what he did when the schools were integrated. I know I've seen him feed folks in the stores,
Yeah.
he knew they wasn't gonna pay, he knew they would, because I knew it, and he knew it better than I did. And he was just a good man.
Oh.
I heard him say damn one time, the only thing I heard him say scared me to death.
But it's like forever. I just have to like send it over or something.
He was,
Does that mean you can get a job then?
he was as good as they come.
So what do you think you're gonna do?
Well,
I guess the most interesting generation was the one before,
Two days a week, just
what our
for
Great
the meantime,
great
but I wanna work
grandfather,
for like
Turner,
another
Stephen
hospital
Turner,
or
he was,
Oh,
that was interesting. one.
international.
I tried to trace that before and I never did get any farther back than him.
I'm gonna
That's
try.
really
He's the one that
right
had
up
the
your alley.
Yeah.
different sets of children.
Yeah.
He married a woman who also had a different sets of children.
And I
They,
talked to someone like I had said like.
he came over here to,
In the town stores.
I guess it was Talbot County, but it was that road out of Waverly Hall. It was right on the Harris County, Talbot County line down there where they settled. And he came here with at least 2 grown children. And he married a Calhoun woman, and his daughter married her brother, and his son married her sister, as I understand it. And cause he was a good bit older than the Calhoun lady, but see, a woman that lost her husband in those days, I mean, she was pretty much helpless, especially if she had young children, so the best thing she could do was remarry, you know. And that happened often. In fact, when he died, she married again after that, had more children. So she had at least 3 different sets of children. And that's one reason we couldn't trace Stephen Turner, because our great-grandfather was so young when he died. So he hardly remembers him. He grew up in the next group of children, you know, with his half-brothers and sisters, and knew more about their family. They were named more.
Ice machine right there.
Knew more about them
Tell
than he
me
did
about when
Phillips's.
we were in Winston-Salem.
That's a doubt.
That's the
Looking
Dalphus
up the
side.
Dalphus.
well,
And what
That's
happened
fine.
to that lady?
Yeah.
who went-
There's a lot of Dalphits up around Winston-Salem, and we knew that our set of Dalphits came through there, you know, at some point. So we were up there and went to a cemetery there. There's a part of Winston-Salem they call Old Salem, you know, and we were looking around this cemetery trying to find a Dalphit. And some lady, old lady walked by and was saying, you know, who you looking for, you know, and we told her, oh, not buried here, you know. Took us back to her apartment, complete strangers. Took us back to her apartment, pulled out all these old books and documents, and showed us
All the
told
Dalphus.
us how to find his grave. She knew where it was.
She did all this stuff on Dalphus.
He's the one that Ibby's connection to the Revolutionary War. He's the one that the Daughters of the American Revolution put a marker on his grave. Y'all found it, didn't you?
Yeah.
We went to the church and the preacher took us over.
Yeah.
But
They
we
knew
went
it.
to,
We went to
we went to the historical center, and
went to the
they,
museum or whatever it was in Winston-Salem, and they knew right
when
away
we
who
told
it
them the
was.
name, they knew
And I asked
exactly
him how
what
they
we
knew
were
it. He
talking
said,
about.
well, he gave the land for the church.
Oh.
And then I've got a book up there that lists some stuff about him, and he did give the land, but they kicked him out of the church because he's drunk. He was like to drink.
I
They
would
kick
remember,
him
I
out.
don't believe it.
And the men are very, in this part, women in this part, they don't. very-
What denomination was that church?
Feels scary.
It's Moravian.
Yeah, cause I was gonna say, he got,
I probably said.
he came,
I probably said, the last time I saw it, it was.
what, he came from Northern Ireland, I think, to Baltimore, I believe, or Philadelphia, I forget.
He didn't fight in the Revolutionary War, but he supplied goods. That's how he done it.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
But he went to Maryland first, Frederick, Maryland, and then came down to North Carolina. There's still a lot of doubt.
There's a Doubted cemetery somewhere in South Carolina, I don't know.
There was a Doubting Street in Greenville, Nashville, you know, for Judge Doubting, but I think it's not there. I tried to look it up on the internet.
Well, we went to the cemetery where Sam
How long
was.
were we in there?
There's a good many Doubtings there.
When does Chelsea go back? December 2nd.
That all we know?
Right?
Yeah, you can turn it off. I think that's got all.